CTS 700 BTR belt tear and rip unit is a single unit that will trip the conveyor belt if a tear or rip occurs on the trough side of the belt. Tear and rip of the troughing belt is detected via a cross belt arm that has the same profile as the trough belt. The arm is connected to two electrical switches via a polycarbonate made coupling mechanism. Should the conveyor belt encounter a tear or a rip in the trough side of the belt, it will come in contact with the tear and rip cross arm, swinging it either forward or backwards depending on whether it is a rip or a tear, thus tripping the switch mechanisms. The switch coupling mechanisms have been designed to provide an adjustable mechanical trip delay. Once operated, the switches latch in the off position and must be manually reset. The electrical switches consist of two changeover contacts rated at 500 volts 16 amp, which can be connected to the existing electrical system as desired. The belt tear and rip switching system consists of two enclosures mounted on a chassis plate that form a canopy above each enclosure. The enclosures are made of UV stabilized high impact polycarbonate and carry a rating of IP65 degree of protection. The total unit is made from mild steel. The bearings used are the 2RS type, which are sealed on both sides. All mechanical connections between the steel parts and the electrical system are completely isolated via a polycarbonate coupling system, thus maintaining the galvanic isolation of the unit. To install the CTS 700 BTR, first place one of the tear and rip arm control stanchions on the conveyor stringer between two existing idlers. Then mark and drill two 1/2-inch mounting holes in the stringer, and then mark and drill two 1/2-inch mounting holes on the opposite stringer straight across from the first set of holes. Bolt one of the tear and rip arm control stanchions to one of the stringers. The tear and rip arm assembly has two set screws and two jam nuts in each arm that will lock the arm to the shaft of the tear and rip arm control stanchion. Loosen the jam nuts and back the set screws out until they clear the hole for the shaft. Rotate the tear and rip arm assembly so that it is parallel to the ground. Insert it from the opposite side of the tear and rip arm control stanchion between the belt and the stringers until the tear and rip arm clears the belt. Turn the tear and rip arm vertical and slide the arm on the tear and rip arm control stanchion shaft. Install the second tear and rip arm control stanchion by sliding the shaft through the hole in the tear and rip arm assembly. Bolt the tear and rip arm control stanchion to the conveyor structure. Center the tear and rip arm assembly on the shafts between the tear and rip arm control stanchions. Ensure the switches on the tear and rip control stanchions are in the upright position. Turn the shaft on one of the tear and rip arm control stanchions in the direction of the trough belt movement and the other side in the opposite direction until they stop. Lock down the two set screws in each of the arms of the tear and rip arm assembly to lock it in place. Lock down the jam nuts on each of the set screws. The CTS 700 BTR is now mechanically ready for service. The electrical connections are located on a label inside each of the tear and rip control enclosures. And now we'll talk about testing and adjusting the CTS 700 BTR. As a warning, please ensure that the conveyor belt is not running or possible injury may occur while rotating the tear and rip arm assembly. Now that the CTS 700 BTR has been installed, it is set up for immediate trip for rip and tears. To test for immediate trips, do the following. Place the blue knob on each control box to the on position, which is straight up. Rotate the tear and rip assembly arm slowly to the left. As the arm rotates, the blue knob on the control station will also rotate. Keep rotating until you hear the switch click, indicating a trip and opening the mechanical switch contact. Reset the switch by placing the blue knob in the on position. Now move to the other side of the conveyor. Rotate the tear and rip assembly arm, this time slowly to the right. As the arm rotates, the blue knob on the control station will also rotate. Keep rotating until you hear the switch click, indicating a trip and opening the mechanical switch contact. Reset the switch by placing the blue knob in the on position. To set a mechanical delay, do the following. First, loosen the two locking nuts and the set screws on the arm assembly. Rotate the shaft 1/2 inch. Secondly, tighten the two set screws and the locking nuts. And finally, test delay by rotating the arm assembly. If a longer delay is needed, perform steps 1 and 2 again until the desired delay is achieved. When you're ready to start operating the CTS 700 BTR, simply set the blue paddle in the on position for normal operation. When the unit is tripped, the blue paddle will rotate one position to either the right or the left, depending on which side of the unit is tripped. After the belt of obstruction has been cleared, set the blue paddle in the on position for normal operation. Finally, I'm going to talk briefly about troubleshooting the CTS 700 BTR. If the CTS 700 BTR is not tripping and you feel that it should, the first thing you want to do is check for a broken shaft coupling. The way to check for broken shaft coupling is to undo the jam nuts and release the set screws until the shaft coupling can move freely. Try to rotate the shaft coupling. If it's able to rotate 360 degrees all the way around, you've got a broken shaft coupling. Another possibility, if the CTS 700 BTR is not tripping, is a broken rotary switch. In which case you just want to check the wiring from the switch to the control panel to see if there is a wire that's broken. And the final reason that a CTS 700 BTR would not be tripping is the most obvious to the naked eye, and that would be a broken assembly arm. Simply take a good visual look at the assembly arm, see if it is broken at any location. If it is, of course, you need to replace the arm.